Hello everyone, welcome back to Drawing Daily, and today we're going to be working on page 71. So let's get started. Alright, so for this page, I'm going to be replacing all of the faces of the characters because they were not looking accurate to what's on the comic, and I'm going to make the paneling. I'm gonna try to make it look more interesting, although it's gonna be all horizontals. I wanna make that typical thing that I do on my comic, which is things going out of the frames to make it more like impactful in some areas, like not everywhere, but yeah, in some areas. And yeah, I was thinking of just the things that are like in my mind, kind of 3D-ish looking kind of a thing, like going out of the frame. And I thought the Alexandria's well, that's actually not Alexandria's, but mother's staff that I have to put there, and also Denebra's feet going out of frame because it's on a very specific position on the fall, and I thought it would be nice to have it like popping out of the frame like that. And something I'm not quite sure like it really worked out, but you'll be the judge of that, is that I was doing the rain, but I was thinking, well, if they're falling, well, Alexandra is flying down, so she could be going even like faster than the rain going down. The Denebra is falling at the same speed of the rain. So what I was thinking is like, well, then the raindrops have to look like just like balls of water basically, instead of that long kind of a drop shape. So it's gonna kind of look like a moment like still on time. That was kind of like the logic that I was applying to it, but I think it ended up looking like bubbles. but anyway, I know people when reading it is gonna understand that they are not bubbles, that this is actually just rain. And the raindrops are gonna be more like just balls of water basically, instead of the long shapes when falling down because of the speed. So yeah, that's one of the things that I was kind of like struggling with, that decision, but I think it ended up looking pretty nicely. Alright, so as you can see, I'm also gonna be using those perspective lines not only for the reference for the rain, but also for the to add a little bit more of perspective to the frames, because these frames are very empty in the background. There's just like objects were too far away, like clouds and stuff like that. This one has a huge moon in the back of Alexandra's head, and I needed to add this rain falling so it could feel a little bit of a perspective there, not just the character's perspective, but the environment too, right? And I also added some drops like hitting her, and it's not a huge deal. Like her adrenaline is pretty up, so she will probably just feel like being smacked in the in the head by a raindrop. Will perhaps could even make her even more angrier. So um yeah, it's just like huge for them. It's like huge balls of water just hitting them all the time when raining, and it's actually kind of dangerous for the wings to them, but because they're very fragile, they're very small. They're not as small as some people may think. When I describe them to my friends or something, it's just like a tiny human, and is usually the size of a little bit smaller than a person's face. So it's like the almost like a palm of a hand tall. So they're kind of big, but it's pretty scary if you encounter like um, a little person of that size. It's actually kind of scary, and that's why they can be very little to people. Anyway, in this frame, Something that I didn't do right before, I think, was like the hair flying around because of the speed and all of that. Also, the perspective was kind of weird on the original frame, so I'm trying to just change all of that. Not that this perspective is perfect, but I think it's way better than before. And also the staff, you can really see it there. It's gonna be pretty huge, the tip of the staff. And now this is what I was talking to you about. I'm doing the drops, just hitting her and actually going upwards because she's going faster, like she's going down faster than the rain. So she's basically just cutting the rain off while she drops down, flying. So that was kind of like the reason that I was applying to it. And I think it kind of works, that effect. Not that it's gonna be light changing when you read the comic, but I think it kind of adds to the narrative, because the original ones were just, yeah, she's flying down, but you really don't see anything else more than that. And everything is towards having a better product at the end, which is like the main goal of doing this remaster and redrawing this whole thing, to having a clean up version of this idea of this project, and then see what happens with that. Basically. Alright, so these frames, like, were so simple, because okay, it's just like rain, the character in the center in most of them, that I needed to do something else with it. So I think I went more heavier with the shadows, and you'll see what I mean when we get to that point, although you already saw the final result on the cover. But you will notice that I'm gonna go heavier on the shadow side. And after doing that, I was like, damn, I think I need to revisit some of the pages that I did before. So eventually, when I get to do the text again for the whole comic, because I have to not rewrite, but like put all the text again. If there's any errors that can be fixed, I will fix them, and also enhanced the story a little bit with some things that I've learned while doing this comic. So when I get to do that, when I get to that point, I think I'm gonna revisit some of the shadows on some panels. I'm gonna have to be like just adding more and more shadows in some of the panels of older pages, because this one came up pretty nicely at the end with a ton of new shadows, and I really like the result. So this point of view is always tricky, and I have no idea what I would have done if I didn't have this reference, to be honest, because man, that perspective is kind of difficult to achieve if you don't have reference, or if you don't have something that, like a crazy amount of knowledge. Another detail that I wanted to do, and maybe you just notice it there, is that I'm doing the tears going up, because they're like lighter than her, so, or the wind or whatever. So she's falling and the tears are going up a little bit. So I think that also will help on the illusion that she is actually falling, and it's not anything weirder than that. And a little bit of nails there. An idea that I had some time ago was when they get to this kind of like a savage, or more like aggressive kind of a situation, they get kind of like turned on in some kind of a aggressive adrenaline kind of a way, and their nails will go out and they will be like more aggressive, not like losing self-control or anything, but like it's something like the adrenaline kicking in. But I haven't really leaned into that idea, because I really not sure if how it will be received, honestly. But now in the second season, if you have read it on the webtoons, you probably notice that some stuff is changed, and maybe I can get away with saying that at that point, because things are radically different, and maybe it could be something new that she has on her belt, of abilities. Anyway, I'm kind of getting myself ahead on telling you guys the story, but this is what I was telling you about with the shadowing. I still like to do it manually, all this effect of the shadow, like the repetition lines and all of that, the patterns. And I was actually thinking once about doing it like kind of automatically, just like one pane, just do one huge sheet of this, and then using that as a mask or something, and then applying it to the panels. But then I was like, well, it's gonna be kind of like the same thing, but then I have to erase where it's not, or paint where it's going to be. So it's not like I eradicate the problem completely. And I think this still looks better than if I do it that way, because it's at least is more natural, more organic than the automatic solution always. So I think this is a kind of good to just keep doing it this way. And yeah, I think this page came up pretty nicely. I really like the result and can't wait to start working on page 72. Well, I actually already started, but you know what I mean. And yeah, it was really, really fun. And I really hope you're liking to see this process. And I know some of the videos can be a little bit chaotic with all of the movement and all of that stuff, but I really hope you like what you see here, and eventually be able to read it in this form, which is gonna be way cleaner than what is on the webtoons. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this episode, and see you on the next one. Bye.